we're going to be ranking every minigame in the Kingdom Hearts series. While Kingdom Hearts is known for its action-packed gameplay, where Sora takes his Keyblade and puts his foes down without hesitation, being a marvel in what it means to be an action RPG with all of its set pieces. But then there are also moments where Kingdom Hearts wants to be like Mario Kart. Minigames are in almost every Kingdom Hearts game and offer a small break for our heroes, often teaming up with whatever Disney characters around to help them with whatever problem they're having. And Kingdom Hearts minigames come in so many different forms, so we're going to rank them all from worst to best based on my enjoyment of each. Am I excited to boot up this minigame, or is it something that I'm just trying to get through to get back to the main story? For this, I won't be including any of the battle minigames where you face off against the Heartless. Examples that come to mind are the Olympus Cups, the Battle Gates from Kingdom Hearts 3, Monstro's Belly Brawl from Chain of Memories, or dueling the kids at the start of the first game. These more so focus on actual combat gameplay, so it would rank super high because of it. But I want to focus on the real minigames that completely shake it up. We'll be ranking them from F, D, C, B, A, and S like we normally do. And let me know in the comment section below, what is your all-time favorite Kingdom Hearts minigame? The one that tickles your fancy whenever you get to that point in the game. And while you're down there, please be sure to hit that like button, it helps out the channel in a big way. Let's get it, time to rank every Kingdom Hearts minigame. This one is called Pooh's Muddy Path because that's what the entire gameplay experience feels like. Like I'm slowly moving through Pooh's Muddy Path, if you know what I'm saying. This is the final minigame in the 100 Acre Wood world in Kingdom Hearts 1, where you're tasked with escorting Pooh to all of his friends. The issue here is that getting around just takes forever. You'll be waiting around for Pooh to get to you and he's just slow as all heck. Then you gotta trigger a variety of different animations to get to his friends. So this minigame feels more like an interactive cutscene than anything. It's just so slow, I feel it in every step when I'm in here. I do think it's a little funny that we have them trapped in this enclosure here, as if we're arresting all of Pooh's friends so they don't get away. This is easily my least favorite minigame in the whole series, and is the only minigame that I fully can't stand, making it the only one in F tier. So this one, you're tasked with fighting some bees in an alleyway. The fun part about a lot of these jobs in Twilight Town is that you're able to do them as both Sora or Roxas. Doing this as Roxas is pretty simple, just jump around and defeat the bees as fast as possible. But then you can return here as Sora and completely melt the bee population of this world in an instant. It's a pretty short minigame, not much to say about it. Another minigame from the 100 Acre Wood in Kingdom Hearts 1. Not gonna lie, a lot of these early game minigames are fairly clunky, and that's still accurate with Pooh's Honey Hunt. You'll be covering Pooh while he's flying in the air using a balloon to get honey, although you better be careful not to fall here. The platforming in Kingdom Hearts 1 leaves a lot to be desired, and combining that with the wicked camera, it's really easy to lose your balance and fall. You've got to get that Keyblade swing timing perfectly so Sora returns back to the branch. The timing is a bit tough to land, but once you get it, the minigame is fairly basic. It gives me more anxiety about falling versus me actually having a good time. In Block Tigger, you'll need to stop Tigger from jumping on these carrots. In this, you'll get a rush reaction command, making it so Sora zips right under the position under Tigger to make it easier to land. And honestly, that's all you really need to do for this one, but get the timing down and you'll fly exactly where you need to go. But if you miss, the carrot is going straight into the underworld. The key here is not to move at all, just pay attention to the reaction command. Fairly basic minigame, nothing too crazy here. So we're back in Twilight Town for some more jobs. This time with Cargo Climb, you'll need to move this cart here to the top of the hill with a timer. It's one of those jobs you get early on with Roxas to raise some money for the beach. So these early minigames do have a little special place in my heart because of their story implications. You get the cart up the hill by smacking it with some combos. It will eventually leap into the air, but smack it with an aerial attack and it'll go flying. Another simple minigame, but does a lot in making Twilight Town feel more real. It's nice to be doing some community service. For Honey Pot, you'll need to remove this pot from Pooh's head while spinning him around. To do this, you'll need to get the timing right with this power bar here, then the Honey Pot will go flying off into the distance. Truth be told, some of my favorite minigames are the one where Sora is just ragdolling Disney characters. Like, it's always a funny animation, like you gotta imagine what Pooh's going through in here. There's also a handful of missions in this game that require you to get a certain score that will give you a special mark in Jiminy's journal that work towards 100% of the game. Some of these scores are pretty brutal too, offering no room for mistakes. Regardless, completing this minigame will also give you the Curaga spell, making healing more powerful, which is great for those more challenging bosses down the line. So the classic kingdom was first shown off for Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, which were these Game & Watch style video games starring Sora and his friends. When it was just in Union Cross, we had 5 of these games to choose from to promote Kingdom Hearts 3. Then when Kingdom Hearts 3 fully released, the classic Kingdom games raised up to 23, where it's often you would find these inside of the big treasure chest when exploring the worlds. And I know I'm not the only one who opened these massive chests and was pretty bummed when I got one of these. Now, there's nothing wrong with the classic Kingdom games. They're a nice collectible that offer a little side distraction. But you're probably gonna play these only once or twice, not really enough substance to keep you coming back and being engaged. Like I said, which is fine. I think the art style for these games is endearing enough to carry the concept. But truth be told, the Classic Kingdom is more of a collection than an actual fun side experience. Tigger's Giant Pot is another one of those clunky timing minigames. You gotta hit these nuts back into You gotta hit these nuts back into the pot as they fly out, and you'll need to get the timing of the jump and the slash just right. Fortunately, the ground is a bit more forgiving than previous minigames, giving you a bit of time to catch yourself if you extend too far, but if you miss, you'll have to try the whole thing again. The only tricky part of this game is landing the jump and hoping the camera doesn't cook you. It's helpful to lock onto the nuts, pause, but it'll likely shift the camera and throw you off. These minigames from the first 100 Acre Wood, man, they were certainly trying things. The jungle slider from the deep jungle is a pretty dense experience. The gameplay pulling right from the Tarzan movie where he's riding on the vines. You'll experience this early on as part of the deep jungle story, but you can come back here and there's a lot more to do. You'll be collecting as much fruit as possible while sliding on these new paths, and I had no idea there were multiple levels of this for years. It was only something I discovered down the line through word of mouth. It's also really cool how the game rewards you with new content for exploring old locations. It's still a bit clunky to control, and some of those later levels will test your patience, and you'll need to clear it if you want to grab the dark matter for synthesis. But ultimately, I think the imagery of Sora diving headfirst into a branch has brought me enough joy. The vine swinging mechanic has been a threat to Kingdom Hearts fans for years, where if you don't get the timing right, you're plunging into the wild animals below. This is similar to the jungle slider where you'll have multiple difficulties to choose from, with each one replacing the vines with snakes that will retract after a while. But truth be told, none of this matters when you come back later. You can return to these minigames once you get the glide ability. Basically, having the power to skip the entire challenge makes this a cakewalk. I think this minigame is just more infamous from the trauma it gives to Kingdom Hearts fans. It's not horrible, but it's not one that I think of too fondly when looking at Kingdom Hearts minigames. Have you ever wanted to push your friend on a swing as high as possible and go flying off without the threat of shattering your legs? Then Pooh Swing is here for you. You're tasked with pushing Pooh on the swing by pressing the triangle button at the right time. The more rhythm you get with it, the higher the swing will go. The amount of times I've accidentally killed all the momentum by pressing the triangle button at the wrong time, making me have to start it all over again, just like way too many. But of course, the real treat from this game is just sending Pooh flying into the cosmos. There's one where he goes so far he ends up crashing into one of his homies' houses, leaving him unhoused with a vengeance in his heart towards his yellow friend. Ragdolling Disney characters is apparent in this minigame, and I love it so much. So Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance had its own 100 Acre Wood, and in this game it's a bunch of small minigames put together in a single long room. Now there's not much to mention for these versions of the game since they're done after just a few seconds, but when the game was remade into the PlayStation 2 version, we got a bunch of new minigames to choose from, and these are much more refined than the ones we got in Kingdom Hearts 1, starting with Veggie Panic. You move left to right with Sora as you need to hit the various produce back. Just line up where they are and send them back with your Keyblade. I can easily see a game like this being turned into a Kingdom Hearts mobile game, just something to play for a quick high score. There's also the fact that Sora will use the strike rate on bigger objects, and we get this cool animation of him knocking it back. Overall, I had a decent time. So you remember that clunky jumping minigame from the first Kingdom Hearts game, where you need to climb a tree while protecting your friend? So it basically returns in Balloon Glider, but this one is way more fun. You'll be controlling a balloon as you collect orbs and get higher in the tree. Along the way, you'll be avoiding bees, which is pretty fun since the controls give you these big leaps. It's easy to send yourself up way too high and crash into something. You've got to gently press the X button to find the proper pace. The game also gives you extra balloons if you end up getting hit, which is pretty nice. Still, this is a nice video game that doesn't force me to platform, a big fan of that. So I know I said no battle minigames, but this one is against bees, so I'm not really gonna count it. For Bumble Rumble, you need to defeat all the bees in this area. What's cool about this is that this one gives you a combat mini deck, so they give you a rented 100 Acre Wood version of a combat deck, and you get these neat card designs that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. You can also use slights in this minigame, which is definitely overkill when just dealing with bees. Still really cool. So Balloon Bounce reminds me a lot of those doodle jump mobile games, where you need to get this little guy as high as possible by jumping on moving platforms, and this one is really cool in capturing that feeling since you can go pretty high. But the only thing holding this one back is how short it is. The minigame ends after you just jump on 10 balloons, which can be done in just a few seconds. There's so many balloons way up high that you'll probably never get to see. It would have been cool to raise up this limit from maybe 20 to 30 balloons. It's a good minigame that I wish I could have spent more time with. Ah well.
Rest in peace, my granny, she got hit by a bazooka.
For gift wrapping, Sora turns into one of Santa's elves and gets sent to the workshop. You'll be using this cannon to shoot presents inside of the various boxes. Just make sure you reload when you run out of ammo and you'll be alright. Just focus on the bigger boxes for extra points and the game will be over. I think this one ranks so high because I know how Sora's feeling about this one. In the story, he loves Santa Claus and believes in all of his magic. So for Sora to get the chance to help him save Christmas, I think it's a great honor for Sora to receive. See, that's all I gotta play to put Kingdom Hearts fans in mass hysteria. Atlantica from Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably the most infamous world in the series. I know I'm not the only one who as a kid talked about how cool and intense Kingdom Hearts is, with the massive battles and the engaging story, only for your parents to walk in when you're singing songs with the Little Mermaid. The The world is broken up into 5 different songs that you'll play a rhythm game for. The biggest issue here is that it's an incredibly boring rhythm game. The buttons just take way too long to come out. It feels like you're watching a cutscene with the occasional button push. And don't even think about pausing during these songs. Since there's no resume button, the only way out is for you to start the song over. Who on the development team decided that? Atlantica isn't all bad though, as completing it will give you an orichalcum, which is essential for making the ultimate weapon. You'll have to take this dive if you want the game's strongest weapon. It's also a fairly jarring experience if you played Kingdom Hearts 1 before this one, since all the other returning worlds in this game maintain their combat experience. But Atlantica doesn't. It comes back with something completely different. Although I cannot downplay the impact of Atlantica in Kingdom Hearts. Whether you love it or hate it, it's definitely one of Kingdom Hearts' more out there experiences. Can we play Mario Party? No, we have Mario Party at home, and it's this. The command board is an extra mode in Birth by Sleep, where you play this board game, roll a dice, and try and collect as much GP as possible. The player who gets the required GP first will be declared the winner. And there's surprisingly a lot of content in this minigame, where there are separate boards based on the various Disney worlds in this game. But this isn't really that much fun to play. You only really did this if you were trying to clear out the Mirage Arena. While it's different enough from Mario Party, it's just a fairly basic board game. I think adding small mini-games between turns like Mario Party could have been really cool, but it's still something more to do if you're into this kind of thing. Although it did have added value on the original version on the PSP, since you could connect with other players and do the command board together. Although when they remade the game for PlayStation 3, all multiplayer components were removed, nerfing a lot of the mini-games in Birth by Sleep. Still, the command board is one that I look at with fairly average feelings. So the 100 Acre Wood in Kingdom Hearts 3 is much different than the others, and this one is probably the most harmless minigame there is. You'll need to line up fruit together and chain them for a higher score. And it's not like there's anything wrong with this, it's just a step back from the scope of previous games. There's only 3 different stages to choose from, and you'll be connecting fruit for all of them, basically doing the same thing. I still think this game just makes this world feel half-baked when compared to the others. It's still a decent time, but not much to grasp here. Maybe this was in response to the complaints of the minigames from older titles, so they decided to scale this one back into something more simple? But who knows, that's just my theory. Overall, it's a alright experience. So have you ever played the Clefairy minigame from Pokemon Stadium? This is basically that with a Kingdom Hearts skin. Tigger will jump around these stumps and you need to match his motions to win. I think it's really funny how the stumps have these massive PlayStation icons. They did change this in future releases for other platforms, where the stumps have their icons removed, but the buttons are placed here in the bottom. Which makes sense, you can't have these PlayStation icons on the Xbox version of the game. But this is another one where I struggled a bit. I'm not gonna lie, I have the memory of a goldfish, so any memory game is gonna feed me the hands. Regardless, it's a fun time every now and then when I have to open up my brain for a few. So this is a reoccurring minigame throughout the Kingdom Hearts series. In Kingdom Hearts 1, you'll need to break them as a test for Phil. In Kingdom Hearts 2, you'll be doing some training and collecting these orbs. And in Birth by Sleep, you'll face off against Hercules for the highest score. It's cool how there's multiple layouts for this minigame in a variety of different games, each giving more verticality in their platforming. And there's tons of tricks you can do for a faster time. I found it easier to just throw them at each other instead of using the blade, since it shatters instantly without requiring a completed combo. But I do like how this concept is continued throughout various games. Like seeing what Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora can do to these things is insane. And trying to break more pots against young Hercules is exciting. Glad it's a concept that they kept throughout the years. It's really nice and familiar every time I see it. So the Whirlwind minigame is basically the dive minigame from Dream Drop Distance years before that game released. You'll be falling with Pooh Bear while avoiding hitting obstacles in the air. If you lose Pooh, you won't be able to grab any more orbs until you grab him again. I think it's the visualization I really like from this game, seeing Sora get thrown into the air and need to manage his way back down. You can also roll in the air to get a bit more of a distance. To think this concept will be used again in a future title is really dope to consider. When we look at Blustery Rescue from Kingdom Hearts 2, which is very similar to the last minigame from Chain of Memories. I mean, this version did come out first, so it makes sense, but this is basically the 2D version of that minigame, where you need to avoid all these obstacles while keeping Pooh close. I think my favorite for this one is Sora's attack animation, where he does this spin dash type move that reminds me a lot of Sonic. It's just funny to see him flailing at this speed, with the goal of this minigame to make it to the end and save Piglet. I remember replaying this one a lot because I wanted to collect every orb, but there was always something that escaped me right off screen. Someday, maybe someday. Another one of those jobs for Roxas at the start of Kingdom Hearts 2, as you'll need to deliver 5 letters as quickly as possible. This one is fairly short, but might be the first minigame I've wanted to speedrun. With these 5 letters, 3 of them will be going to people, while the other 2 are going to birds? I don't know why we're delivering mail to the local birdies, but hey, maybe they're waiting for their check in the mail too, who knows? Maybe that should have been a first sign that this town is a simulation. Anyway, you'll do this by riding the skateboard, which feels like an entirely different game just within itself. You'll be spinning and grinding about to get these letters out there. A short game, but one of my favorites for the early Kingdom Hearts 2 experience. The Grand Standard minigame is the one that separates the boys from the men. Another early job for Roxas is to try and keep this ball in the air for as long as possible. The moment it hits the ground, that counter is going right back to the beginning. Using a normal combo will make it so that the ball goes flying, making it harder to control. This is unironically a cool method in teaching the player about knockback in this game. You can also come back here with Sora and run it back again, and with his kit it'll be much easier to maintain the ball in the air. But still, you need to find the proper balancing to keep it up there. It's neat to see how long you can keep it up for yourself, a real test of endurance. Not only that, but this minigame also returns in days, where you can smack the ball around for a few while Roxas is on the clock. It's one of those minigames that's essential to the identity of Twilight Town. It's just fun to knock the ball around every now and then. So Junk Sweeper is a unique minigame because it's not about the speed. It doesn't really matter how fast you go, that's not the measurement of success here. But rather, the game counts how many Keyblade swings you took to clear it all out, with less swings leading to a higher score. There's surprisingly a lot of depth here. You have to consider Sora's combos, how strong his attacks are, and his range of attacks for a single swing. It almost makes this minigame feel more like a puzzle you're trying to solve. I know a lot of people had to look up a guide for this one, since it's another great gatekeeper inside of Jiminy's journal. I think it's really cool how you have to completely shift your mind to tackle this challenge. I love when Kingdom Hearts does that. In Fruit Ball, you'll need to score fruits inside of your enemy's goals, and work as a goalie to prevent the fruit from entering your side. I think it's cool that all the fruit have different properties to pay attention to, but I'm not gonna lie, my favorite part of this game is your spiking animation. You will instantly teleport in the air and slam the fruit back towards your foe, which is incredibly satisfying to land. I know Fruit Ball can get a bit challenging when trying to get the trophy for it, where you need to defeat all the opponents in Fruit Ball, but I had a lot of fun whenever I come back to this one. It's enough zany chaos to keep me interested. And the Birth by Sleep trio is in desperate need of a good time after everything they've gone through. This minigame from Kingdom Hearts 2 tasked you with trying to find Pooh Bear inside of a cave. This time you're joining up with his friends and you'll need to escort them. You'll be fighting off against bees and protecting them from falling rocks. I think a big part of the enjoyment for this one is the actual cave. There's tons of hidden treasures and items to get in almost every corner. You'll have to be thorough to make sure you don't miss anything. There's also this animation of Sora falling on the crystal floor with it just cracks me up. But eventually you should lead Pooh's friends back to him and win the game. You gotta make sure they're still with you or else it won't work. The amount of times I found Pooh but completely left everyone behind in the darkness to fend for themselves, then I had to go back and be like, oh yeah, too many times. In Agrabah in Kingdom Hearts 2, you'll do this flying magic carpet minigame. I like this one a lot because of how cinematic it is. The way the camera is following Sora through the ruins of Agrabah is really cool. You'll be fighting Heartless that appear in the air. You'll have a limited combo for this one, but just enough to hit those normal 3 hitters. But you gotta make sure you line yourself up with their positioning. It's often you'll go a certain way that makes it so you can hit multiple foes at once. This one is just plain fun. I just love all the camera work from start to finish. I think what it is that people yearn for a new Star Fox game. Similar to the situation with the command board being Mario Party at home, Rumble Racing is the Mario Kart we've got at home. And there's a lot of good here, but I wish they added just a little bit more. I really do like how our heroes are using their Keyblade transformations as vehicles. They could have easily put them in one of these silly Disney Town type cars, but being able to use the transformations in gameplay is a nice touch. There are 4 different courses to master, each with their own twists and turns. Some of the later stages demand near perfect turns if you want to clear them out. And it is satisfying to snatch that victory from your foe at the last second. You've got your dash rings to gain some speed, there's tornado hazards that move on the map causing you to slow down if you hit them, and a variety of other things to avoid. But damn, I think this would've went crazy if they added like an item box. Like give me something to use to fight back, I think that would've been great. Alright, I'm done making Nintendo comparisons for the rest of the video. Maybe, hopefully, we'll see. Now, Ice Cream Beat is when you do a Kingdom Hearts rhythm game right. Much more fun, challenging, and engaging than what we got with Atlantica. Since not only do you need to get the timing right, but you need to be facing the right character for the point to count. The gameplay isn't anything groundbreaking, but this edition adds so much to the interactivity. Plus, you're working with Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It's always good to see them. There's also the ice cream getting more and more comically tall. This is another one of those tough trophies to unlock, since you'll need to obtain a fantastic rating in each of these songs for this mode, which can be pretty tough and unforgiving. All of that too, just to get a bronze trophy for your efforts? They could have at least made this one silver. Come on. In Kingdom Hearts Recoded, each world adds a new gameplay style to keep things fresh. In the Olympus world, the gameplay transitions into turn-based combat. You'll be exploring this labyrinth in a very dungeon-crawling experience going floor to floor. What I do like about the turn-based combat is that there's a button prompt before you strike, and landing it will give you a little bit of extra damage. I love little interactives in turn-based combat like this, and this area massively expands once the world is completed. The first visit only had 5 floors to explore, but if you return later, you can do a full 30 floors. And there are additional hidden bosses the higher up you go. I said I've loved it when Kingdom Hearts games add new content to old locations, and this is a pretty beefy addition of stuff to do. Also, it's really cool to see Kingdom Hearts embrace its Final Fantasy roots with the turn-based gameplay. I'm surprised we haven't seen a full-blown turn-based Kingdom Hearts game yet. Will we ever? Who knows? Wonderland is another world with a special recoded gimmick, this time turning the game into a full-blown on-rail shooter. Now, on-rail shooters are common for the Kingdom Hearts series, but they usually let you fly about inside of a vehicle or something. For this, Sora is firmly on the ground with the occasional jump, but then you get this powerful projectile that's basically one shot on most enemies. Now, where is this attack when I'm in normal battles? Like, this looks like it would be very useful, but it is visually cool to see Sora running into the background, stepping into the unknown and getting ready to face whatever darkness hides inside of it. This section ends with a battle with the Trick Master, and I did have a lot of fun in this running section. I'm a big fan of mini-games with a bit more action to them. So for this next one, I'm going to combine a few mini-games together, since they all function to make your Beanie Babies as brolic as possible. In Dream Drop Distance, whenever you level up your Dream Eaters, Sora and Riku will also gain some new abilities along the way, making it valuable that you spend some time with them. With Balloon, you're basically playing catch with them. As the more balloons go back and forth, the more points you'll get. Water Barrel might be one of my favorite of these games, where you need to push your Dream Eaters inside of these bubbles. It's just funny to see them bouncing all over the screen like this. Then there's Treasure Goggles, which isn't one that I played too much. It's where you use the camera to look around for goodies for your Dream Eater. When this game was remade for the PlayStation, they changed this to Candy Goggles and removed all uses of the camera and replaced it with a generic background. I just thought that was a pretty neat detail to mention. Then there's Paint Guns, where you shoot them in the face until you're satisfied with their new look. I think combining all of these makes for a lot more of an in-depth Dream Eater experience. It's cool that you're able to do more than just equip them in battle. I know a lot of people got really close with certain Dream Eaters because of this. For example, I love the dinosaurs, every last one of them. And they've added even more to do with your Dream Eater with the Flick Rush competition. In Traverse Town, you'll find this new area here where you can sign up for a tournament. And it's a mini game where you fight your Dream Eaters against each other. It's a card game similar to Chain of Memories, where you need to outplay your opponent with proper timing. And Flick Rush is surprisingly deep with what you can do. There's different card values, evolve cards, card duels, and needed to reload your deck. And there's a lot to keep track of if you're trying to win them all. The earlier cups teach you the basics, but the later ones definitely have hands. And there's a lot of different missions here to clear out. It almost feels like an entirely different game. I very much respect how much effort they put into making the Dream Eaters a big part of the experience. So after completing the Toy Story world, you can come back and play Verum Rex Beat of Lead. Whatever, where you're tasked with entering this mech and taking down as many other mechs as quickly as possible. I know a lot of people struggle when trying to get the Centurion trophy for this one, where you need to get 12 million points as a score, but after landing a few chain attacks and killing multiple enemies at once, the score should add up. I think what makes this area so special is that we are technically inside of Kingdom Hearts 4, with Verum Rex being the setting for the next game, and we just jumped inside of this version. It leads me to believe that the rest of the city is out there somewhere. Quadratum is just outside of these gates. It's a nice piece of foreshadowing for later. Plus, it's cool that they let you come back and try this as often as you would like. With Frozen Slider, Sora, Donald, and Goofy will be sliding on Goofy's shield through the tundra. This one is really dope because of how many different paths are out there. Some enter inside of caves, you'll be speeding through the forest, and others are deep within the sky. With there being multiple paths, the developers decided to do something evil with this stage by adding an incredibly stressful aspect to the sliding minigame. So they've scattered 10 different treasure pieces on the course. You'll need to collect them all if you want to get that Orichalcum Plus for the Ultima weapon. Although, it's impossible to grab them all within a single run, meaning you'll be running this game again and again to find them all. Not only that, but there's so many different paths, you might not even know where to go. I have no shame in saying that I used the guide to get through this one. I'd even have the video guide open and constantly pausing and unpausing so I didn't lose track of where I was going. There's absolutely no shame in saying you use the guide for this one. It's pretty brutal. Outside of this aggravating treasure section, Frozen Slider is a lot of fun. It's really dope to sled with the fellas and see all the crazy jumps we can make. The different paths did add a lot of variety to it as well. Big fan. The biggest addition to Twilight Town in Kingdom Hearts 3, the Bistro. After saving Remy from the clutches of the Heartless, he returns to Scrooge McDuck's kitchen and serves the public of the world with delicious treats. First, I love how they added Remy into the mix. I think it's really defining when they add just a single Disney character versus their entire world, and just places this Disney character within the Kingdom Hearts mythos. Remy fits perfectly as the character to work at this bistro. They cooked here, and on occasion, Remy will need Sora's help to make these dishes a reality. After all, collecting ingredients is a big part of this game. There are 4 different mini games in the bistro. Chop the ingredients and grind the pepper might be the easier of the two, where you just need to make sure you get that timing right. But crack the egg and flambe the food require near perfect precision and timing. I've already talked about this godforsaken egg mini game and how it's been the bane of my existence, but clearing out the entire menu of the bistro is a pretty satisfying experience. I love getting the proper marks for each of these dishes, and earning a 5-star rating will reward the player with the Grand Chef Keyblade. It's essentially a model swap with the Hercules Keyblade for this game, but it's a nice prize if you're just trying to get all all the Keyblades. If Twilight Town does return in the future, I hope the bistro is still open for business, and they didn't shut it down because of the various health code violations. The Gummy ship might be the most common minigame in the Kingdom Hearts series, as each version just has gotten better over time. Kingdom Hearts 1, you slowly made your way through an on-rail shooter stage to reach the next world, and it just felt slow as molasses as you were making your way there. Then in Kingdom Hearts 2, they definitely picked up the speed, making the Gummy ship feel more like a classic arcade shooter, a much needed improvement for the pace of the game. But if I had an absolute favorite, that's going to Kingdom Hearts 3. While you can just focus on going world to world, the outer cosmos is populated with so many goodies. You can explore and find these giant golden balls that offer treasure for completing a puzzle. There's hidden constellations that you can take pictures of for extra rewards, and there's even additional bosses, some of which can be pretty tough if you get blindsided by them. And it abandoned the on-rail shooter, giving you the freedom to go in whatever direction you wanted. Sometimes it's just fun to boost through space and go fast without trying to hit anything. The Gummy ship has been there since the beginning, but this is definitely the best version. I'm actually excited to enter the Gummy ship whenever I boot up Kingdom Hearts 3. That's an improvement. Kingdom Hearts 3 introduced the Flantastic 7, these delicious heartless enemies that are scattered around the worlds that will require the player to think outside of the box. Tackling any of these with normal combat knowledge will get you nowhere. There's one where you need to use arrows to gain speed and knock over as many flans as possible. Then there's another where you use the mad teacups to knock over all the flan. Then there's another where you gotta capture the perfect pose from these flans on camera. You'll need to reach certain scores on all of these if you want the Orichalcum Plus. The ultimate weapon in this game is very much worth the effort, so I get it. I also really like how their Japanese name is the 7 Princesses, being a reference to the 7 princesses from the first game. Still, it's a lot of fun to find these in whatever world they're hiding in. And when talking about the Flantastic 7, you cannot go without mentioning their father, the Mushroom 13 of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Exclusive to the Final Mix version of this game, various mushrooms will appear scattered throughout the worlds. And just like the Flantastic 7, you'll need to think outside of the box to win. It's also really cool how these are based on Organization 13 in their design, and you beat each one by doing something completely different. This is another one where I'm not ashamed to say that I needed to use a guide. Some of these are pretty tough, and it's often I'd have to use abilities that I otherwise would have never used before, like the one in Hollow Bastion where I need to keep this one spinning with an aerial hit, or the one outside of Yensid's Tower where you need to keep this one in the air for as long as possible. My Grand Standard training was meant for this right here. Then there's the one outside of Beast Castle where you need to grab all of these orbs. Still, the Mushroom 13 and the Flantastic 7 do serve a unique purpose in these games. Push the mechanics of Sora as much as we possibly can. I really hope we get something like this in future entries. It's a really nice tradition. Now this might be one of the biggest gatekeepers for 100% in Kingdom Hearts 2. In Poster Duty, you need to complete this mission under a certain time. They're scattered all over the commons on the wall and you need to get them as fast as possible. You can do this mission as Roxas, but the real challenge comes much later in the game, as in order to hit the high score for this mission, you'll absolutely need the Glide ability. And unlocking Glide isn't something that's super easy to do, requiring you to level up Final Form by eliminating as many nobodies as possible. And you don't even get Final Form until near the end of the game. Even after obtaining Glide, this is still not an easy mission. You've got to get the route down perfectly to put these posters all around town. Without Glide, you'll just be way too slow to complete this. But with Glide, you kinda enter a flow state, always trying to aim for a faster time. It's one of the best test of movements in the entire game, and one that's incredibly satisfying to pull off when you finally do get that high score. Definitely one of Kingdom Hearts 2's best minigames for sure. As for my all-time 100 Acre Wood minigame, that's going to Honey Slider. This is one of the most animated sequences in the entire game. For a game that's based on Disney properties, this is probably the most whimsical moment that the game gets. In this, you'll be sliding through the pages of the 100 Acre Wood with Pooh Bear, avoiding getting hit with projectiles and staying on the course. The movement is pretty fast and exciting, keeping the pace of moving the entire time. And the music is perfect for this cartoony scenario. There's a sequence where we literally jump outside of the pages of the book, and you can see the letters on the ground being torn by Sora as he goes by. It's an excellent touch. In general, this entire minigame is a visual treat that really sells the storybook aesthetic. They even have a snowball chase sequence. This minigame truly has it all. It's definitely one I return to and reminds me that 100 Acre Wood isn't all just slow minigames. They can sometimes cook with something really special. The light cycle is a fun treat in its own right, where it functions like the actual Tron games where you need to make these incredibly sharp turns. But now Sora can use his Keyblade to attack and block and stuff like that. Now, playing this under a normal playthrough, there isn't really anything special to talk about. You'll probably get through this once and never have to worry about it again. But if you've ever tried a level 1 critical run for Kingdom Hearts 2, this might be where the run ended for some, because the light cycle is less forgiving than the lingering will. You only have so many hits to get to the end, and you'll be dying a lot here if you don't know what to do. Truth be told, you can't make a single mistake because they kind of just chain into each other. Like if I get hit once, I know something is about to follow up and cook me. Getting through this minigame on level 1 crit is probably one of my favorite gaming experiences because it seriously took me several hours to get through. Still, I love this inclusion for this world. The light cycle also returns in Dream Drop Distance, this time with Riku taking the helms of the bike, but it's a little more straightforward this time, actually putting our hero on a racetrack versus a small box of confined death. You also have a projectile this time, so that's pretty neat. This mechanic goes so far in the game that you'll even get a boss fight during the light cycle section. It's not too difficult to get through, but the light cycle lives on. So Flash Tracer is really cool because it's basically an obstacle course for Sora. In San Francisco, you'll be going through some tests with the Disney gang to gauge your abilities, and they give you this course to run through the entire city. You'll be climbing on top of buildings, jumping off of air vents, and flying all through the skies. It's really a lot of fun to try and get through this as quickly as possible, really pushing Sora's movements to his maximum output. Although, it's a real shame that they only have 2 courses for Flash Tracer, and both of them are exclusive to the Big Hero 6 world. I mean, how cool would it have been to see a Flash Tracer course in every world? Twilight Town, Monstropolis, Arendelle, Kingdom of Corona. I think they should have carried the mechanic over to other worlds, giving players more to do. I know aiming for these top speeds would be a priority for plenty. The last big gameplay shift for Kingdom Hearts Recoded, the side-scroller. As you approach the end of Traverse Town, you'll be tasked with reaching the end of this auto-scroller. The game switches to a 2D perspective, but maintains Sora's normal gameplay physics. Like in this position, he can still swing his Keyblade and jump around at the same heights, and you use the Keyblade to remove any potential hazards in the way. I'm not gonna lie, the platforming here is pretty solid. And Kingdom Hearts is a series known for not having the best platforming. So to see that they nail it here in a 2D space, it feels pretty nice. It is possible to miss a jump and fall down below, but the game will bring you back similar to the Lakitu in Mario Kart. I just love how the scenery looks in the background for this world. To see these assets crunched down to work on the DS looks pretty nice for this game. Seeing Traverse Town put to 2D just looks very natural for this world. The platforming section is only a few minutes, but I did have a lot of fun with this one. It ends with a fight against the guard armor, and it's really cool how the entire battle remains in 2D, making you completely change how you want to tackle this reoccurring villain. Sora is just a natural fit for the 2D world. I unironically would love a full 2D Kingdom Hearts game like this. That'd be really cool. So the Gummy ship has been the main way we've gotten from world to world, but that changes with Dream Drop Distance, as this might be my favorite method for entering a world in the entire series. You're falling down into this dreamlike concept of what the world is below, like the assets of the planet are flying at you, foreshadowing what's to come in the level. So you need to avoid these so you don't get slapped in the face. Some of these dive minigames even end with their own boss fights, which are much different than battling on the ground, and each dive minigame will require you to get a certain score, as those looking to get the dive wing Keyblade will have their work cut out for them. Some of these can be pretty tough and may take a few retries if you really want to nail that score. Still, diving is nice because of how it frames the rest of the game. Like you're literally jumping into the dreams of this planet below, and with how the visuals of these dives are, it's always a treat to come back to these. Even towards the end of the game when Riku is jumping inside of Sora's heart, there's a moment where the gameplay transitions into a dive, showing Riku take the plunge for Sora just like we have for all the other worlds. The dive minigame in general is really neat from a gameplay and narrative perspective. It feels like the perfect mix of what Kingdom Hearts is, and I love it. So for the S tier, we're down to my 2 favorite minigames in the series, starting with Struggle. I know I said no battle minigames, but you're not really fighting enemies or Heartless or anything like that. It's just the locals and how bad you can put the beats on them. But truthfully, Struggle ranks so high because how it's tied into the lore of this world. In Twilight Town, the Struggle is an annual event where the locals are training hard. There's rivalries, clashes, a full tournament bracket, all to determine who is the best. And as Roxas, it's the perfect introductory sport to lean us into the rest of the gameplay. Everyone gets these rubber bats replacing their weapons to show that this is still friendly. And of course, I gotta mention the variety of Final Fantasy characters. These characters just love to be a part of a tournament series, I'm learning that. But Struggle made the Final Fantasy characters feel more like locals for Twilight Town. Even with your final match against Setzer, you're given different options. You can either win the match and collect the trophy, claiming yourself as a champion, or you can throw the match and get a new cutscene as well as a medal item, which is a better equipable item for this part of the story anyway. In this minigame, you're tasked with beating your foe and collecting all of their orbs. The person with the most orbs at the end is declared the winner. Now, Struggle is pretty fun at the start since you have Roxas's basic moveset, although you can come back later with Sora and participate in Struggle as well. And with his late game moveset, you're basically obliterating the locals no problem.
Fight back! Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
Struggle is one that I look back at fondly, and I'm so grateful how closely it's tied to the culture of Twilight Town. Sports do have a tendency to bring people together, so this is beautiful to see. And now, here we are, my all-time favorite minigame in the Kingdom Hearts series.
Walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go.
Festival Dance is the best rhythm game in the Kingdom Hearts series, obviously outside of the actual Kingdom Hearts rhythm game. This one does everything right from the story, to the visuals, to the gameplay. After a long journey in the forest with Rapunzel and Flynn, we finally arrive at the Kingdom of Corona, where here a festival is going on and it's time for our heroes to turn up. You'll be dancing with a variety of townsfolk and landing within these circles with proper timing. A big part of this goes solely to Sora's animations in this minigame, where Sora is just going absolutely insane with every move he puts on the screen. It doesn't matter if Sora's dancing with a woman, a man, or a barrel. He's gonna show you that his time with Ariel was put to work. Overall, Sora is just having the time of his life. We're on a journey like this, it's important to remember to stop and smell the flowers. So to see Sora just have a good time with his Disney companions in such a visual way, that has made Festival Dance my all-time favorite Kingdom Hearts minigame. And there you have it. Knowing me, I'm probably missing 1 or 2 minigames. I don't know. I think I got the main ones that I wanted to talk about anyway. And dang, you don't realize how many minigames the series has until you have to put them all together. You spend a lot of time not hacking and slashing your enemies, just doing vibey things with your friends. I think these minigames play a very important role in the pace of the game, where they slow you down a bit so you can take it all in. But of course, this is what I thought. Thank you all so much for watching. Please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and stay awesome.